Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Zwift Racing League Season 1 of the 2021-2022 year. I think that's how I'll say it. And we're out here for the team time trial for the Watopia's Waistband Community League, America's East, 29 kilometers. And this, I'm looking at the lineup here. The men are out on course, the women are out on course. The first team that we're going to be looking at, Team Riot, on the women's side of things. The first team that we're going to be looking at, Team Restart, followed up by Next, presented by Insured, followed up by Costa Rica, and then the Ashton Lambie team. I mean, this is pretty awesome to see what's happening here. A lot of the best. Division 1A, America's East. Good to see everybody, all the viewers out there. Make sure that you are bringing in your questions, your comments. We will be interacting with them as best as we possibly can. Dave, what we saw earlier today, this is a powerhouse course. We saw very close times across the board for the times that we did see. And it was what you were to be expecting, a consistent 5 to 6 watt per kilogram monsters pushing at the front, as well as some new names kind of getting into the atmosphere, you know, about who these new brands are jumping into this new season. And I'm wondering if we're going to see anybody peek their head out against some of these top tier teams tonight as well.
I'm wondering the same thing, to tell you the truth, Nathan. There is right now so much going on. When you look at some of the transfers, and we'll be picking up on some of that, you're going to see some new names popping in. I saw Rebecca Larson has jumped in with Dutch Diesel. We were talking about that before we went on the air. That's a game changer out here. This is such a competitive group. There is so much depth, so much parity. This really is the sweet spot of the ZRL when you look at America's East. And I'm happy to see one of the guests that we featured on World of Zwift, Christina Grossman, will be out racing tonight on that Riot team that you were mentioning. They're coming back after a fantastic, and again, as Nathan was alluding to at the start, 21, 22, those are the years. This is the first of another bracketed group of 3 races here, just like we kind of had season 1, 2, and 3 together. You know, Nathan, we were joking about Lord of the Rings. I think it's more like Star Wars in a way. Like, we do these 3 race blocks now, and this one, it's got an incredible amount of excitement around it. Team time trial, this is our first of 2. The second one comes up week 5 for the community, so that's a big change. So you want to get off on the right foot. That's so true with everything, right, Nathan? But for here today, your team, we were joking about this earlier today, you don't need to get the gold medal today to feel good about things. You just don't want this to turn into a dumpster fire.
No dumpster fires, that's for sure. Just making sure that you are, you know, and being within striking distance is going to be really, really, really important, I think, out here today for each of these teams. You know, even if you don't have the diesel engines necessarily, but you've got the ability to race points races, you got the ability to win scratch races, that kind of a situation. You know, I think that making sure you're at least showing up and grabbing the points needed to be within striking distance for the rest of the season. Also, the reality, though, I like that they throw these 2 team time trials in there as well to show how much cohesion you have. There is definitely a team organizational standpoint, how well the team is working together, and a strength standpoint as well. But, you know, how well you're able to prepare and not just show up and go for some sprints and show that you're a powerhouse on those sprints.
Well, Nathan, in any decision like this, there's going to be winners and losers when they reduce the number of team time trials. And the teams that have been racing in WTRL for years, who have tremendous experience with this, it's disappointing because there is so much to gain. But Nathan, I think that there's those ripple effects, right? The teams that have done WTRL racing, not only are they going to be better off for week 1 and week 5, but they also might have a better team cohesion because they've been racing together as a unit. However, the team that wins the ZRL is going to be a well-rounded team when you look at all the courses that have been bespoke for this season. And this discipline, to be honest, winning tonight in no way is an indicator that you're going to go on and win the season. It's a good sign, certainly, but the perfect team for this race, individual race, versus 8 races in the season, is going to be that powerhouse squad. Big riders that make massive watts. That's not necessarily going to work for you every week. That's for sure. But this week, It absolutely does. And teams that show up with 6 motivated, big engines, they're going to be in good shape out here if they know how to play Zwift and understand and play Zwift. That's Zwiftcraft. You really need to understand how to ride a team time trial to be successful out here, or else, as we've seen, teams with riders going off the front and off the back and splitting and coming together, merging. It can get to be insanity.
We're going to go ahead real quick, give everybody an idea. I'm loving this graphic, and for those that are just tuning in for the first time, this is a Zwift Racing League community competition, 1,800 teams, 10,000 racers, 140 nationalities, 136 divisions and 17 leagues, 55 Zwift events, and 136 races, a whole lot of broadcasting, and Justin Race won 290,000 kilometers. A huge week each and every week. That is the kind of stats that we're looking at for what is being accomplished here. Absolutely awesome. Let's go ahead and jump right on down to the racing. We do have Riot here hammering away. And, you want to real quick, if you guys got this queued up at all, we've got a little bit, some pickups here. Britt Layton actually 3 of them, it looks like here. Francis, Smith, and Litton all coming over from, I think, an Anna Russell pickup, as well as I believe, is this going to be Fiona coming out of Ireland?
Well, okay. This is what I'm talking about now. Anna Russell is a colleague of ours. She's from New Zealand, a professional triathlete and broadcaster, and absolutely a superstar. Just gave birth. Is it her 3rd child, Nathan, or her 2nd that Anna has brought?
3.
That'll make 3 for the Russells, and a huge congratulations.
It might even be 4, actually, to be honest.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, but I might be wrong.
She's
probably rolling her eyes at me. We can actually get an answer from her. I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't either. She's the consummate professional and just an outstanding human being. So what I'm not seeing here, Evelyn Gagnon is the Canadian. You're right about Fiona. Fiona Gallagher is the Irish woman on the team. Christina Grossman racing out of Queens, New York. And then Natalie Smith is one of the New Zealanders. Now, I am on my, it's probably me, but on my Zwift Power, I'm not seeing the information on Litton and Francis here.
Interesting. We'll see if we can figure out what's going on.
I'll try to track that down, but I do. Obviously, they're out here. I was a little concerned when I was doing
Britt
my
Litton
prep.
is definitely a pickup from
So she will be
NZ Bro, as well as Riot in the community league. NZ Bro as well as Riot in the community league. So, and a big pickup. She was definitely a huge name in the classics races. And
so what happens is, unfortunately, very un-Anna Russell-like of them, they still have NZ Bro as their team, red block, rather than the Riot that they're racing for, Brittany Litton and Carly Francis there. So they need to update that to make it easier for me to see them.
Because it's all about us. Just so everybody knows.
No, but what I'm saying is they're not listed as Riot. They're listed as. You see what I'm saying there?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think they race both. I think they race for both teams. So update would be helpful. Gagnon now making her way to the front. It looks like a little bit of a back off here for a moment. I think as you can see, the watts per kilogram coming down. I think there was some separation.
They're probably entering the data. They're changing their team affiliation in the computer, right? So this is Christina Grossman. What an awesome story she is. She's had some great in real life results as well. Really fascinating, Nathan, to be with her in Central Park, and she's talked about how authentic Zwift is to replicating what the real Central Park is like. And then after I saw her there, a couple of weeks later, she's winning a race out there, the pro women's race. So Christina's had a fantastic season, has really used Zwift during lockdown. I guess in America it's more quarantine, but through that time she came out of it a stronger person, and mental strength is really the name of her game.
Yeah, amazing. Has an amazing kick, that's for sure, and I think has been working a little bit on that FTP as well as in order to. Be a more all-around rider. As you saw those amazing results that she did have over the summer. I think she's going to come into this season screaming fast. So Smith now to the front, 5.2 watts per kilogram quick here. Solid 40 kilometers per hour through this 1% gradient. That's a pretty good speeds coming through at this section.
Outstanding. So just to connect some dots and wrap up or put a bow on it there, these New Zealand-based riders that we're seeing jumping in here, when you're wondering what does Anna Russell have to do with that? Well, Anna is a huge influencer in everywhere, but in the New Zealand cycling scene, and I'm sure that she helped these women get on board, facilitated their involvement with the Riot team, because Anna has been, and I'm expecting still is, the director for this team. I would expect, Nathan, that she's on comms right now with this team as a director. Although I could be wrong. Again, she gave birth a week ago.
She's definitely in the pens. Yeah, she's in the pens. She's out there. And
that's
she's
Anna
also
Russell.
In chat, so she's definitely giving everybody. Looks like Gagnon fallen off pace just a moment, so it looks like as Grossman heads to the front at 4.9 watts per kilogram right now and keeping them at a steady 38 kilometers per hour. They're going to let one go. Moving back now with Miller, Merritt, Esqueda, it's going to be Pridham and Maloney. This is going to be the inside-out team, I believe. And 170 beats per minute right now. And this was a new team that showed up this past ZRL season and kind of made a little bit of a splash. Great to see them hammering away and actually taking time out of Riot.
Ooh,
that's
big.
Yeah,
that's
4
big.
seconds. 4 seconds at this point between Riot and Inside Out. That's a pretty big to pull 4 seconds back from them that quickly, and to go out 34 seconds from Cryogen Gallopin, who is chasing them. Inside have been doing some homework, it seems like. Look at their straight line. Very well organized right now.
Did you say, so inside out, that's a term we use in cycling, right? He or she is turning herself inside out. I don't know if that's where this name comes from, but that's what they're doing right now. That's for sure. This team is going to be fun. Well, here's our breakthrough team so far. Andrea Miller. She's an American. Carrie Merritt, also from the U.S. on that team. And then a few Canadians here, J.D. Frang, Lori Pridham, and I believe Maloney, Deirdre Maloney. There you go. This is going to be a team to watch, no doubt. Get ready for the Inside Nation. Here we go. This is Deirdre Maloney that we're looking at, but this yellow jersey, Nathan, these ladies are going to be players. And I'm seeing a Mexican flag there. Esqueda, I apologize. As the Esqueda there. So they got the full NAFTA going on. All of North America represented with Mexico, the United States, and Canada.
180 beats per minute currently coming from Esqueda, and they're 16K in so far, 4 watts per kilogram. And now it looks like Riot may be ramping things up a little bit, hearing that this team is chasing them down. They brought it back out to a minute. They're neck and neck right now with Riot, as you can see on the right-hand side where we're keeping track at the moment.
Dead even.
Yeah, so, but Cryogen Gallopin, a little bit of a struggle from them, it looks like, which is surprising me. You know, Cryogen, that team name and brand is so well known, and definitely one to, I would think would be performing so well. But Agawatt have brought back a 4:45 seconds already on Cryogen Gallopin, as we do see Agawatt here. Agawattage with Marie-Andre Elmore, Amy, Michelle. And I believe this is going to be a separate team, actually. From, I believe there's maybe 2 Agawatts out here. Is that going to be right? Or no, maybe?
No, just the one.
No, okay, interesting. It was just surprising me that there was only 4 riders left for Agawatt.
The only thing I'd warn you is maybe there's a rider we're not seeing right now. We'll hang on that. But this team, I was hoping, Nathan, that there would be an Agawattage, the cottages. Maybe that's in the future. Who knows? But
maybe I might be incorrect here about something too. I'm going to see if I can figure out where they started.
Sorry, Nathan, to talk on top of you there. I was saying it's all Canadian. That's not true at all. It's a mix of Canadians and Americans on this team. While you're doing that, let me shout out Lori Elmore, one of the Americans on the squad, Amy Fitzpatrick, the other. Candace Anderson sure knows how to Canuck up, as does Melanie Roker, Marie-Andre Houle, and Michelle Motiuk. That is Agawatt. So this is Marie-Andre that we're looking at on the front. A tough moment right now for Agawatt.
Looks like it, yeah. Very, very tough. And I think there's been a little bit of a struggle out here, because I think actually that Cryogen Gallopin are not struggling. I think Crouch
They're
Gallopin
flying.
caught them and passed them. I think that's
Yeah,
actually what's going on here. So my mistake.
You're absolutely right.
Lana Brady
Yeah, no, well,
leading this out here and flying at this point.
you wouldn't expect that, Nathan. You're absolutely right to say, wow, that's an eye opener for sure. So it speaks to how good the Toyota Cryogen team is. And look at this. Right now, I'd like to see them just weld this back a little bit because this looks like they are on an incredible day today.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with what they are pulling off here right now if they're just going to win the day outright. Looking
pretty
behind
good.
them, I mean, ATP, Dutch Diesel, Core, AF, Sisu, I mean, these teams, they've got a chance, but man, Cryogen at this point just seem to be just a step above everyone else out here today as they catch one of the inside-out teams.
Are we not seeing splits out there?
Went live thinking we were going to as we were getting results in with live data, but those
That's
will
too
not
bad.
give us any help at this moment.
Gotcha. We had been using 8, 16, and 22, and that really tells a story. We had seen quite a few races where teams were leading at one split and then ended up having to come back after losing time at 16K. So we'll work without that info. I apologize to everyone who was looking for that.
So it looks
18K into...
Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
I was going to say 18K into a 28K race because I didn't have anything else to add. So you go right ahead.
Yeah, so Alana Brady definitely leading this team out, though. She is the powerhouse. She's been leading actually all the way since leaving the S-turns out of Ocean Boulevard.
Oh.
So absolutely
there we go.
flying. Looks like a sudden update coming right on through. Great to see.
All right.
Awesome.
So you want to look at two things. You want to look at 8K because that's going to tell you. So you can see that change has happened. A faster time for Dutch Diesel at the first check, 11:16. No one quicker than that. Cryogen was right behind them, but now Cryogen does have the fastest time as of now, and they should have the fastest time as of the rest of the teams coming through as well. That 22:49 is 3 seconds quicker. So it's a battle royale going on with Cryogen, Gallopin, and DDC, the Dutch Diesel Cycling Atomic Spice team, which has added the Dutch Diesel Cycling does not have a Dutch rider on it, to tell you the truth. It's Cassandra Rush out of America, Jen Morose from Canada, Julie Gallagher, and Rebecca Larson, the other Americans on that team. So Dutch Diesel Racing, though, 22:52, 3 seconds behind, 23:14. So it shows you how good it is inside out. I love the team name, 23:14 the time. So you can see 4 seconds behind is Riot. Behind them, Agawattage at 24:05. That's right at a little bit past the middle part of the race right now. That 16K check. So great to see this data coming in. ATP Racing Stingers. We'll keep an eye out. Hopefully we'll find out what that split was for them. So Sisu had some kind of a technical issue to take the start, but it is very important to take the start or else you actually lose a point, which if things aren't bad enough, having a negative point is just salt in the wound out here. So this is Cryo flat out flying right now. You can see they're on a 5% grade. One of the steepest pitches that they're going to see out here on Watopia's waistband as the rain's starting to come down, but that doesn't have any effect on this Cryogen team as Gallopin is 3 seconds quicker than Dutch Diesel so that they can feel the hot breath on their neck with Dutch Diesel right behind them, Nathan.
Yeah, I mean, this is tight racing. For sure. I'm loving to see how tight this is at the top end between the Cryogen and the Dutch Diesel right there. But then behind, good gap, but inside out and Riot, as we did say, we saw that earlier with the rider nearby list, that they were within just a couple of seconds. So that's the battle for third place right now. We did see the struggle with Agawattage, 24:05 currently. We'll see what ends up playing out, though, with those teams a little ways behind, Plush, FA, as well as Core. That's going to be interesting to see if they're able to kind of get a little bit more organized or find some more speed as they come through that 18-kilometer mark. Let's go ahead and see what's happening with the men's side of things, because Restart, we're caught by something I think is going to really excite Dave, because anytime I bring this team up as well as these individuals, it's just Donnybrook excitement out there today. So we got Ashton Lambie, it looks like, hammering away with the next. I believe Lambie is out here, if I'm not incorrect. Oh, come on. I'm messing with me now.
I was just laughing because I think for folks that maybe aren't initiated, this man is one of the biggest names in the cycling world today. And the fact that he races on Zwift Community Live, Nathan, doesn't that make you proud? To think that you built this thing.
Amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
I mean, so when this moment happened, Nathan and I shared a real moment because he's the first man ever in the individual pursuit. This is Ashton that we're looking at on the front right now, to ride a sub 4 minute. This is equivalent to the first person to break the 4 minute mile. It has been over 100 years, and obviously technology has changed, but what Ashton did is so fantastic, so otherworldly that sometimes I almost have to pinch myself when I think that that's really Ashton Lambie out here racing. He's the coolest dude ever. Ashton Lambie is not a bike racer. He is a lifestyle. I don't know, do you follow him on Insta, Nathan?
Yeah.
Bahama
reading the first article about him years ago before this, and just kind of the style that he brings. Yeah, just a character.
Yeah.
And, not your traditional cyclist, I would say. Not your traditional
Not
cyclist,
at all.
I would say. So
very smart, a thinking man, and there's nothing about him that I don't find fascinating. So that's so cool, Nathan. I'm really happy that we're able to highlight Ashton. It's just an honor to have him racing. So it looks like Next has got 2 teams out here. Am I correct? Because I'm seeing Ashton Lambie, Chris Uberti.
Next level. Yeah, it's a good call. Good call. Next level and next phase. We'll have to see what next phase is bringing to the table. But we do have Velocio. We do have Velocio chasing them, and beating them at this point with a 20:06. And they got KBH, they got Barton, they got Frank. I mean, they've got Wetmore. Andrew Ferentz is actually off the back here, Velocio. But 5 riders here absolutely flying for Velocio right now.
So Andrew Ferentz was a Stanley Cup winner with the Boston Bruins, a journeyman NHL player, and just a huge part of Velocio. You're talking about Kevin Bouchard-Hall. We absolutely, I could just go on and on, can't I? These guys are just, Nathan, if we were only going to cover one men's category and one women's category, I just might choose the 2 that we've got right now. Fascinatingly interesting individuals. You could do an entire Dave Towle Meets just out of this group. Half of these people have been on Dave Towle Meets, for that matter. We tried to get Andrew Ferentz on the show, but we couldn't get up to Canada because of COVID. And Kevin Bouchard-Hall helped connect me to Jeff Kabush. Kabush is not racing tonight. He's probably at a gravel race somewhere.
He's focusing a ton on gravel. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not sure if he's coming to Michigan for Iceman. But
he will.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he is. He usually does do Iceman every year, but he's definitely got a lot going on right now on the in real life racing. So most likely focusing in on that, I would think.
We also, it was really nice when you had Greg joining us the other day, Greg Abbott of the Next presented by Insured team, to help announce that partnership with Insured from Next and get Zwifty. He is a hysterically funny guy and does a couple meme accounts on Instagram that are Zwift based, and I really guarantee you'll enjoy them. Go follow. Tell them Dave sent you. Dave and Nathan sent you. As Velocio is a clothing brand out of northern or central California on the coast, one of the most beautiful parts of America where they are. And this team has become, again, we were talking about Riot. Some of these teams have created an unbelievable vibe amongst the team. These guys have fun. They poke jokes at each other. They crack a beer after the races. And I would say that Kevin Bouchard-Hall is one of the funniest people on Zwift. His takes on things are really intelligent and hysterical.
Time starting to come in here. And Plush, a team that I'm not very familiar with, sitting in the top 3 right now. Plush A1.
Well, guess what?
We'll have to get an idea who that is.
Meet Plush, Nathan and Dave. because if they're up, look at this: Velocio, next level, Plush, and Restart. If you're anywhere near next level, you got to be feeling pretty good about yourself. Velocio absolutely crushing a 20:06. It's okay. How fast can these guys go? I mean, this is going to be. Are we going to see a time down in the 36s?
Well, we had a 35:01 in the European.
That's right. We're going to see.
We had a
We're going to see
35:01 in European.
34s. Excuse me, is what I think we will. This is absolutely amazing. We haven't seen anything quite this quick out there today, that's for sure. Not surprising coming out of this group. World class. Velocio, next level. Plush A1, welcome to the big time. Restart, sitting in fourth. Dirt Alert in fifth. ATP Racing Hydrogen. Again, this is all coming in after the 16K check. 14K is the halfway point of this race. So ATP Racing Hydrogen in with the sixth fastest time. Costa Rica, Viva Costa Rica, in seventh right now with a 22:33, 22:51, the time for HTFU. We're still waiting for next phase, ZTBR Guerra, and a few other times to come in here. But right now we're stacking up the leaderboard here. 20:06, the fast time.
All right, if I'm honest with you, I have no idea who any of these riders are. Like this is like out of the woodwork, like completely. Like what usually you're like, oh, I recognize that name. They helped organize this. This is a team that's just showed up and said, hey, we're going to take on the Zwift Racing League and show what we've got amongst the top teams. It's a United States team, as you can see here, with the U.S. flags across the board. But Team Plush really showing us what they've got here. This is pretty awesome to see, actually. Now, I am not...
Hey, Plush needs to, I want to learn more about these guys right now. Adam Goulet, Adam Harita, Adrian Chin, John Seddon, and Michael Kronert are the five that I've got. And wow, Nathan, talk about just coming out of the woodwork on us here. Typically, for any, I don't need to blow your horn, Nathan, but you are out there racing. You've been doing this since day one. You were there when they were, meeting up at a lamppost and racing, making your own races. And,
when we were in Narnia.
Yeah, exactly. But so with a half goat, half human would be your starter, right? But now, so for racers to not be on your radar says a lot. And again, we have new riders every day on Zwift. They're freshly minting hundreds of riders a day. But this is awesome to see because typically we've at least picked up on you. So, gentlemen, as I said, welcome to the big time. There's no question we're going to be hearing a lot more, Nathan, about Plush A1. And that makes me think there might be more than one Plush team. Or you know what?
There
no.
is. Yeah, there's. Well,
there?
Okay. There's a lot. There's actually a lot of riders on this team, all American though. At all different levels. Heather Jackson, Project Esports team is what the description says. And they actually do have a Facebook group that has over 600 members. So they've got, it looks like a lot of in real life racers, hashtag Plush Nation I'm seeing here. Not a whole lot of other information I can get out of it other than the group was created on... To have 600 members and was made on May 15th of 2020, I think was definitely a jump into the world of Zwift racing from the pandemic. So this pretty awesome to see and making a statement. They're sitting in the top three amongst the fastest of the fastest. Next is No Joke. Velocio, no joke. These are playoff teams. This is the kind of times and the kind of numbers that you would need to get into Premier Division. So big shout out to this team showing up really ready to race. First go. And this is how you make a splash. Team time trial, first race of the season.
I want to go back to what you were just saying, Nathan. Both Velocio and Next are absolutely at the standard. And if they were racing in Premier, they would be doing well, not just holding their own, but doing well. Even possibly competing for the win. They race in community because of the time works for them. And this is what they like to do. None of them or all of them have, big lives that they're living, and this is how it works. It's not that they couldn't. I just want to be fair on that, right? I mean, the ability. I mean, listen, we're talking about Ashton Lambie and company. Ashton Lambie is one of the best cyclists who's ever lived. So he would do just fine. And can you imagine Ashton having trouble in Premier League? I can't.
Not one bit here. Now as the women are finishing up, just want to make sure that we are highlighting how the women are doing out here because it is very close racing amongst the ladies right now. Looking Riot's just finishing up. It looks like 32:01 was the time they had, 30 seconds or so back at the 22 kilometer mark. Dutch Diesel Cycling, Adam Spice, do we see coming to the line right now? They were at 31:37, about 9-second difference between them and Gallopin. Inside out here, 20 seconds it looks like with Coeur. A solid minute plus or so back there, as well as Agawatt is 35:16. A big struggle bus for them out there today. Now, this is Plush FA. Are you seeing here for the women's side of things? Let me see if we can find them out on course because obviously they've showed up for the Americas East here with a team in both the men's and the women's racing here. But Gallopin, we saw it earlier, but Dutch Diesel, they kept it within striking distance, but the time did go out just a little bit. So I have a feeling that this team is going to have to settle for the silver medal today.
I would agree. It's going to be really hard to bring back that time, but it's not impossible. But certainly the way Cryogen Gallopin is riding it, looks like they put it all together. No surprise, tremendous amount of team time trial experience, and we'll see what happens there. Dutch Diesel Cycling, Nathan, as we said, no problem at all. A second place here, I mean, is Taylor Swift says, shake it off. You don't even need to shake that off. That's actually fantastic. Even a third for Riot today, no problem at all. You're still in really good position. We're only in the first of 8 weeks of racing. There's one more team time trial to come up, and that's week 5. That's going to be out at the Greatest London Flat, where they'll be team time trialing. Of course, not that different, a little bit more vertical gain along the way, but another pretty straight ahead team time trial course. This is going to be with the Agawattage team here that we're in with, as the women just finishing up. Again, it's right at 28K today. So Agawattage here, that's going to be, again, Amy Fitzpatrick, Candace Anderson, Lori Elmore, Melanie Roquer, Marie-Andre Oile, or excuse me, we learned Hool, like cool, and Michelle Motiok. Not the ideal day for them, but not the end.
Agawatt is definitely struggling out there today a little bit. ATP now, they did pick up Rachel Lieberman as we take a look at them, and we'll see how they end up playing out. I'm not seeing any times in for them, so I'm wondering if there was maybe a data struggle or an issue trying to get them into the database. That would be the only problem there.
So take a look, Nathan, at the watts that they've been making. This is a top 3 ride if we can get that data sorted out.
I wouldn't disagree. I wouldn't disagree with you there. This is, especially with Lieberman, I'm interested to see what the Stingers are able to pull off.
We'll have to remember to go back and look at that once it gets figured out, because I'm pretty sure we're looking. Oh, they only started with, I see 4. It says they started with 3.
Yeah, there's 4 here. Maybe there was something going on at the start then. That may be what it is. Is something went down at the start.
Is there a way that you could join your team after the start illegally or jump in by joining I'm wondering, but they're saying that they only started with 3, so that's why the data looks that way. So that's that. Interesting, though. So Cryogen Gallopin with that 31:28, the fastest time that we've got from the 22K check, and actually most of the teams have come through there. 31:37 for Dutch Diesel. Riot in at 3rd with the 32:01. So it really does look like DDC, the last team with a shot here to take the win today in our opening race of 21-22 season 1.
Looking through the Core here. Core coming on through with a time of 33:16 at the last checkpoint. So they're just looking to hold on to a top 6 or 7, depending on where ATP Stingers ends up hanging out at. We do have Royal City out here as well. A little bit of a separation here with the Bumblebee kit going on. And Chenier de Tars, as well as Jamnicki on the front. And looking through, I wonder if Royal City, I'm trying to find, perhaps we'll see if we can get some times in for them in a moment. But Plush here, as you can see, this is the team that we were just talking about showing up on the men's and the women's side of things. And as Banks Smith leads things out, 4.9 watts per kilogram, pretty high watts per kilogram here coming in from Plush, actually. FA, they were at a 34 minutes, though, so good ways back. See if they can bring anything back over core at this point. They're trying to hold off Agawattage. Perhaps Sisudu. Sisudu came through with the 31-38, though, so I'm not sure that's going to be happening. The only ones to worry about then will be the ATP Stingers.
All right. So into the last few K, this is where it can be really deceiving when it looks like everything is smooth and just a nice, fun ride, but the riders are really at their limit here. You're going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel, as we say. For a few of these riders, the fourth wheel is where the time is taken from. That fourth rider is so critical. I mean, that's the name of the game here, is getting that fourth across the line. As fifth and sixth rider at this point, still not quite ready to, well, in this case, fifth, not ready to sacrifice themselves, but we've seen quite a few of the sophisticated teams doing exactly that, where if you have six riders at 1K to go, putting someone on the front to take a mega pull and then coming off and not finishing with the group is ideal. You might eke out another half second or so.
Very true. Very true. And it does come right down to those half seconds a lot of times. You know, DDC, we were saying earlier, didn't look like it could happen, but, you know, there was a lot of landscape to work with for those few seconds that they were behind. They may have brought something back, so we'll wait and see. As the ladies are finishing up here, that is the story to be told so far, but there's another story heating up with the Plush men's side of things. And Kronert and the rest here trying to bring back some time. Let's go ahead and see what the splits were last checkpoint for the men's side of things. And it does look like Next Level holding down a solid 28-18 at this moment. 28-49, 28-54, 55 from Plush, though. Plush are right on the verge of taking out a podium spot in their first go in the Zwift Racing League for this season right now. And that would be... Really, we were looking for these kinds of teams, these teams that were going to make a splash, say, hey, we're on the scene now. Watch out for this name, and Plush, I think, is going to be one of those now as we're seeing them battle it out for a top 3 spot amongst the best of the best in the Americas.
So I see, thank you, Michael Flanagan, letting us know that he believes that Plush is some of the former Waddy Inc. team, that would add up. To tell you the truth, Kronert is a fantastic name for a time trialist. The chrono is what you hear them calling it in Europe, racing against the clock. And we're in with Plush right now. That's a really good look at a team that's digging deep to try to hold on to a top 3 ride. Next Level has taken the fastest time at that 22K split. That looks like a couple Ashton Lambie pulls must have come into play as that team now is really starting to separate themselves from the rest of the field here. You can see that they came back from a few seconds back.
That is insane. That's not just, I mean, that's a huge amount of time. They not only came back, they came over the top. They almost gained a minute. That's insane.
In 6K? So that's eye-opening for sure.
Well, I mean, Ashton just went to the front and he said, he just put on his record-setting
he
gloves.
Said, you guys
want
me to turn into he said, you want me to turn into a motorcycle for 6K? And they're like, sure, go ahead. And they took it up to probably about 55K per hour there. Unbelievable.
Oh, my goodness. Absolutely amazing to see. We are just getting, we'll see if we can stay with the riders here. Whew, luckily, I just barely, we almost lost them all there for a second, but we were able to get back in with them. As Langerman here from the other next team. There are 2 next teams out here today. And this is going to be Next Phase, who are not, I think this is going to be maybe their, maybe not a Devo team, but a team, with the times that we're seeing here,
that's fair.
A-, B, B+ team here, hammering away. And still an amazing time, though, a 29-19 for the last split, only a minute back from their top-level team, 28-18 there. So Taylor,
Look at
alongside of the rest, hammering away 7 watts per kilogram at 48 kilometers per hour. About to make a catch there, actually, on HTFU.
take a look at the Canyon esports model, right? Having these feeder teams and the support teams in that pyramid type structure works incredibly well. That's the way to do it. The other team that really does well with that, Kirkmeyer, right? They've always got riders ready to fill in on their A team because they're constantly developing talent, working with riders on how they race. Every team does this a little bit differently with their technique and how the directors work. And there's the finish arch, and we're going to be in with Zavislan finishing up now. Try to see where the fourth rider is here. They're going to bring everybody across the line, all 6 together there. Or was that a couple teams? I'm not sure, but they're done.
Done and dusted. As we do have a couple more coming on in here with ZTVR. Guerra. Is that supposed to mean energy? For some reason, I feel like that means energy.
Guarana. I think Guarana is something that's in drinks, right?
It's a caffeine. It's a caffeine supplement. Guarana.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if perhaps there's any kind of, I'm totally making things up right now. I do not know.
No, I took too much of it once when I was driving across country and did not enjoy that.
We can't have too much of it here with Guerra getting the energy going at 4.9 watts per kilogram, though, as they're coming across the country right now. And they're going to be one of the last ones to finish up out on course. And we'll start getting some results in for the men's and the women's side of things. It looks like. And we do have the women, I believe, are all finished up out on course. Nobody left to go, as we do bring this team across the line out of Brazil. Doing an amazing job right now. Ronaldo Osmar Rodriguez. And it looks like Furtado. Let's see. It looks like they got to hold down a solid 7th place, and they are in a little bit of a battle. This isn't over for them in any way whatsoever. Definitely can hold down or even bring back some spots, because it was a 30-35 between them and Racing Hydrogen. Not sure they're going to bring back next phase, so they're going to try and hold down 7th place over ATP Racing Hydrogen if they can. I'm wondering if they faded a little bit, though. I'm seeing 7 watts per kilogram as a bump up into their sprint, and nothing into the orange just as of yet. But they did keep things pretty solidly together. Speaking of Get Zwifty, he is out on course, it looks like. Greg Abbott. Playing a little bit of the DS, fan. It looks like. This is a great way to finish up the broadcast with him as he makes his way around. So let's go ahead and see how things played out with the women's racing. This is going to be exciting, I think, out here today, as this is kind of the telltale today about how things are going to play out for the rest of the season, at least for the TTTs, as well as who needs to go home and do some homework. As it is going to be Crowdgen galloping at the top. We saw them overtake a couple of the teams early on, Dave. Followed up closely by Dutch Diesel Racing, Dave.
Yeah, what a team Dutch Diesel Cycling is. That's going to be quite a battle. Riot in at 3rd at 43 seconds back. Inside Out for 4th. Sisu Du in 5th. Cour AF, that's Abske Finesse, in 6th. Plush FA, welcome to the big leagues, is that 7th today, and Agawattage in 8th. So that's our America's East Division 1A women.
Yeah, let's go ahead and while we wait for some of the other results to come in, let's talk about what also happened here amongst the top 12 that we'll have out on screen here. WTRL drafting Dino still down to 40.06. 1 minute back is going to be Herded Butterflies. This is going to be the Division 1 Bs for the Americas East. Crowdgen Mary Blanc followed up by Coalition Infinity. CCNS Zany Zwifters come on in with a 258 back. CCR Race Like a Girl Freya 312 back. Revo Godivas there tied up, actually. It's going to be less than 100th of a second, actually, difference between those two teams for 6th and 7th. Playwatt Sisters, JZQ, come in for 8th. Royal City Sight, the WB1 in 9th. Plush FB in for 10th. It's going to be Fearless Furiosas and ATP Racing Honeybees. That is your top 12 situation.
Hold this screen for a second, Nathan. Take a look at this. WTRL, that's World Tactical Racing League. This is Thursday's host of what started all of this amazing team time trial racing. The drafting dynos, B1, 2.93 watts per kilo, significantly less wattage than 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And you Okay, the early me would have said, well, there's got to be a problem there. But what we've learned is that's experience, efficiency, and Zwiftcraft. They are smoother and more efficient than the other teams out there, and they're winning by over a minute while making less power. So that speaks to the mental aspect and the experience aspect. Sorry, I just wanted to point that out, Nathan.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. Absolutely amazing point. I mean, if you look over at the last one, I mean, we're seeing 4.02. The highest did win here. Gallopin, I think, just a step above everybody, though. That's just the reality when it comes to power.
So that was both. They were more powerful and more efficient, right?
100%.
It's interesting.
Yep. So CCNS Mary Cranksters here, Dave. I love the names. Tsunami and the Drafting Dinos C1. Herd of Marine Otters. Revo Doves. It's going to be No Drama Llamas. Nice job to the Road Drama. They actually invited me to come ride with them. They were like, come out here and hammer away with us, Nathan. You can have
You brought too much drama. The big drama alpaca. Right.
Leawatt Sisters, Agawatt, Leawatt Sisters, and Cecil Race Like a Girl, Atlanta, all within 232. This is a very close, the C's here, very close actually comparatively to some of the other categories that we've seen. Well done to WTRL with the Autocats.
As you move down the divisions in alphabet, you move up in quality of names for sure.
I have to agree, 100%, 100%.
So this is going to be the Women's America's East Division 1Ds. I love it. Good job, ladies. As looks like we're actually updating, and I'm going to put Fear Factor in for the win. Congratulations. The Drafting Dinos D1 for second, Lamaste in third. It's Vibe Energy or Vibergy in fourth. Herd of Bounding Bobcats for fifth. It was really close, only 10 seconds separating first and second today. Herd of Bounding Bobcats for fifth. Leawatt Sisters, JZQ, small CD in sixth. Herd of Blazing Bobcats seventh. Revo Kit Kats in eighth. Rave Party for ninth. And WTRL Drafting Dinos D4 for 10th.
And let's go ahead and head on over to the men's. Now, some of the riders in the rest of the men's field may still be out on course. We'll see how we can do on bringing this in. But Velocio, as you see, able to, I mean, did they absolutely just walk away with this one? Is that for real? Or is that 1 second that I'm seeing here?
No, we're missing next on this. Let's hold on that result.
Okay,
that's not correct.
Good call. We'll wait on this.
Maybe we'll come back with those results later because I have a feeling that there's something up.
That's a good call, Dave. It's a good call. Without next out, because they suddenly just jumped over the top. I might have got a message that I missed, actually. I'm seeing a little notification thing here coming on through as...
oh, I see that too. Yep.
Yeah, let's see.
Sorry there.
No, it's okay. I'm just reading real quick. Hey, everybody, watch us read. So, I'm seeing a lot of chatter coming on through. Josh Lipska, good to see you cheering on a couple of his athletes, I think. Christina Ghostman, MVP, as well as Rachel Lieberman. They had a solid ride out there today with Team Riot and the ladies for those top spots. Riot ended up taking that third place, as we saw earlier, which I thought they might win. You know, let's talk a little bit about maybe some of the expectations we had coming in and then what ended up happening amongst the ladies racing there. You know, the inside out coming kind of like, whoa, okay, showing up on the day, not necessarily a team that I would say that we thought was in that competitive realm of a Riot or the old Finesse type level, kind of a thing. So Agawatt type level, but they definitely showed up.
Here's the thing with Riot is they're integrating about half of the team is new right now. So I don't know that I haven't seen them out on WTRLs, although I might miss them because there's 16 different zones that WTRL, and I'm not watching them all, that's for sure. But I don't know that Riot has the same level of experience in the team time trial as they did last season or the last bracketed group of 3 seasons. So that would be my estimation is they need to learn each other's strengths and weaknesses and just how this all works out there.
Yeah, 100%. I think, the reality of Riot incorporating those, they're very strong riders, but it may have made things a little bit more interesting for them to be organized. We could probably get Anna direct in information from her actually as she was directing things. But Crouch and Gallopin, the walk away, I think they're the highlight of the day today on the women's side of things. Definitely the highlight that I would say amongst the men's racing is going to be that new Plush team as they were holding down a solid top 4 earlier. We'll see if they're able to hold on to that though as the results are coming in a little bit differently perhaps. I'll have to wait and see how that ends up playing out. But, Plush, I mean, I'm seeing them maybe taking down a podium out there today with a solid 126 back or so. So we'll wait and see how that ends up playing. I think we're going to make everybody head on over to WTRL.racing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where this exactly is standing at the end of the day. I want to say thanks everybody for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit those follow buttons, turn on your notifications. We'll be rotating through a lot of the divisions and categories as we go throughout the entirety of the season. As an opener here, this was kind of like to see the who's who in the time trial, and then from there we'll work our way around a little bit. There are so many different categories and different zones out there that trying to cover it all is going to be difficult this season. We are on the lookout for maybe a couple extra streams with other producers actually on top of some of that. We'll see if they can play that out. So that'll be kind of cool to see if we can make that happen. But we'll be back 1 hour from now for the America's West. Again, head over to WTR.racing for all the results. We're going to have a lot of fun. Kate Bates not with us, so you're out with Dave and Nathan again for the rest of the day. And as always, everybody, right on.